There are, yeah, whatever. Well, it's too late. It's too late. You know, you don't have to. You don't have to give me a howdy do. It's all right. But there's study sheets in the back in case you would like one. They're new. This is the last one of the series. Um, yeah, we're tonight. In the last couple of weeks of Proverbs, we're going to look at the obscure Proverbs. And what I mean by that is just those, we haven't really covered any of them yet, but they just make such good word pictures. Sometimes I get asked, why do you like reading so much? Well, one of the reasons is, a very big reason is because language is awesome. Language is fun. And it's amazing to me, and I still get a kick out of it after reading most of my life, how some people just have the talent of stringing a series of words together that can come up with a very awesome picture. And that's what these Proverbs are, at least in my opinion, and that's what so they're going to be from all different types of subjects, but there's a great picture that goes along with it. But before we get going with that, Paul, would you lead us in a prayer, please?
Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you so much for letting us have this time to come together and study your word. Just thank you so much for the ones that were able to be here tonight. We ask your blessings on them. Ask you to watch over the ones that didn't make it, that usually come and just give them safety. We ask you to be with Jeff now as he brings their lesson to us. We ask you to forgive us of our sins.
Amen. It's like the first one, Proverbs 11:22. Like a gold ring in a pig's snout is a beautiful woman who shows no discretion. I mean, that's Bible right there. That's great. Now, but what is this saying?
I'm thinking of the women nowadays that pierce their nose right there in the middle.
Well, it's funny because you say the women now, but this was written a long time ago. What's discretion?
Making good decisions.
Okay, that's a side. Making good decisions. What else do we have? Or putting lipstick on a pig. That's another way of saying it. Yeah, well, the full saying is you put lipstick on a pig, it's still a pig. But, okay, so we're talking about making good discretions. You're also talking about self-control. And the truth is, they say, like a gold ring in a pig's snout is a beautiful woman. The truth is, it's also a beautiful man. Any of that stuff, self-control, good choices, the pursuit of foolishness versus the pursuit of wisdom, and any of those things, those annoying things that all of us just outgrow when we're looking for somebody to be with. That teenage angst, that teenage drama, and all the things and some people never grow out of that. That's the sad thing. Some people never grow out of that. Y'all might remember back in December, Sherry was working with a family with a home health situation with the woman that we told y'all about that got slipped a date rape drug, and it actually permanently paralyzed her. She came from a family of partiers. And you would think that something like that happened, that would change that family. Mom's like 50-something, and she's still partying every weekend and going out and trying to keep up with the younger folk and all this other stuff. It changed nothing. And I remember sharing it with her, thinking, it's like, man, staying out all night and going to the club, that doesn't even sound appealing anymore. I heard that once. It's like it's a sign of getting older. The punishments of childhood become the goals of adults. You want to go to bed early, you want to get your pajamas, and you want to get locked in your room. No problem. But because all that other stuff gets old, right? Looks fade. Yeah? Right? Looks fade. Who of us looks like we did when we were 18, if we're above 18? I know, except Randy. I called him a liar once when he told me he was in his 50s. I said, no, you're not. You're a liar. Then he showed me his license. But none of it, we don't get to keep any of that, but we get to keep up here. So just think about it and be honest. If someone was really good looking, how long could we tolerate them if they were really annoying? Would we be able to put up with that in like a dating or a marriage relationship type scenario? Many people get kicked to the curb because the other partner just gets too fed up with the nonsense. So that's what this is talking about, like a gold ring and a pig snout. It doesn't matter how good looking they are. If they don't have any discretion, those looks are going to fade. It's like putting a gold ring in a pig snout. So, question, comment on that? Alrighty. Next two are actually very similar, but they tell a good picture. And it says, the first one, Proverbs 12:9, it says, better to be a nobody and yet have a servant than pretend to be somebody and have no food. What do you think? If you want a clue, look at Proverbs 13:7. One person pretends to be rich yet has nothing. Another pretends to be poor and has great wealth. I love it when y'all chatty.
12, what number?
12:7. Oh, no, excuse me, 12:9.
9.
Yeah. Successful people, worldly successful people, business people, wealthy people, what have you. They have rules they follow. In order to keep the wealth, you got to have rules. What's one of the rules of maintaining wealth? Don't spend it. That's, yeah. Or, it's not even about living within. Here's a good example. Here's a modern day example that's talking about. Have you ever seen a picture of Steve Jobs? Steve Jobs, there's a device called computers. And he was yeah. He's one of the big guys. There was Gates and then there was Steve Jobs. Yeah, one of them, yeah. Hey. Yeah, see, Sam Walton's a good one too. But Steve Jobs, if you ever seen a picture of Steve Jobs, he's always wearing the same thing. Black t-shirt or black shirt, blue jeans, like Keds, and like a regular watch. Not a Rolex, but just like a regular watch. We realize how much money this guy's worth? But that's the point. That's what this is talking about here. Now, we might get sidetracked about a servant. It says, better to be a nobody and yet have a servant than pretend to be somebody and have no food. Servant was just a catch-all term. A servant didn't mean you were wealthy. It's like, consider down here. How many people, or maybe you yourself, if you have somebody come over to clean the house, does that make you wealthy? Or if you have somebody to come and do your yard, does that make you wealthy? No, not financial. I mean, like yard, for example, you can pay a company, you can pay a guy in the truck $20 to mow your yard. I mean, it doesn't. But back in the day, you would call that man a servant or a day laborer. Is that so? Don't think wealthy when you see the word servant. Think like we would have, your maids, your yard folk, any of that sort of stuff that someone might come in and do something around the house. That's the level. So now, with that in mind, better to be nobody and yet have a servant. So better to be nobody and just have people that you can afford to just come in and help you around the house. Then pretend to be somebody and have no food. What happens if I start thinking that I have to be somebody in the capital S and punctuation mark sense? Excuse me, quotation mark sense.
Son and go out and buy all his friends and then run out.
Thinking of the lady in front of me at HEB that has the Louis Vuitton purse, and she pulls out her Lone Star card.
Yeah.
And then when I follow her out to her, when I go out to my car, I see her putting her stuff in like a BMW.
Yeah, that's right. Back when we were doing the soccer thing out here, our kids did it, 1 year, right? Before they got shut down. There was a lady who got mad at us at the church because her car got broken into. She left her $2,000 purse in the front seat of her car. And they busted the windows and snatched the purse. And it's like,
Yeah. takes a good thief to recognize.
I bet it. I bet it was shiny. That's all I'm saying. But the thing is like, this is $2,000 she spent on a bag to put her money into it. Do we think she had money left to put into it? But this is the, and this is the thing is when we try to put on airs, when we try to go out and get the super expensive stuff. Like when I was in school, you see kids who coming up from the projects. They had to, back before all the kids got free meals, you had to get the ticket, the lunch card, free lunch card, and you had to meet a certain economical standard in order to get that card. They're still rolling up at $150 Nikes. I mean, it's like, why? If you don't have it, don't spend it. And even if you have it, you don't have to spend it. Yes.
This is a little bit off topic, but it's with the word nobody.
That's okay.
I had a great aunt that had, I think, a couple strokes, and so she was not quite with it. And I hadn't seen her for at least 10 years. And we went to visit her, and she was sitting there. I was sitting next to her, and her daughter, cousin, said, "Do you recognize Joanne?" And Gladys turned and she got like this close to my face and just staring and staring. And after a little while, she said, "Well, you don't look like anybody." And my cousin, "Mom!" But she didn't recognize me. But it struck our family so funny that for a while I was known as nobody.
That's
So
right.
when I read this verse, I think, well, see, it's better to be a nobody.
That's a great movie. It's great to be called Nobody. But I remember, Heather, I'm glad you're here because, I remember you once told a story back when we were doing another class, and it was about when you were working with lax. And you get these oil field guys coming in when it was a good month and just basically buying out the store. But then, lo and behold, what goes up must come down. What's going to happen? See, it's that mentality. See, and this is why, and I know we've been in Proverbs for a while, but this is why I hope that you've seen the value of the book. How much of this stuff still speaks to today? So it's about being happy. And again, erasing the idea that you have to prove yourself. That you have to put on airs, that you have to make yourself more fancy than you are, or that any of us should be. Again, one of the tips of successful people is that they strive not to fall into that trap, of having to have that. You hold on to it.
That mindset is of, I'm going to impress you with my expensive purse.
Yes.
I would be just the opposite. I would be ashamed to let anybody know that I spent however much on an expensive purse. I'd rather grab something at Walmart and as soon as it wears out, go get another cheapie.
That's right.
Because I would just be ashamed to.
Yeah.
To let people think that I wasted money on something like that.
There's a great line from the movie Inception. It's a repeated line. This rich guy gets kidnapped and he thinks it's just a holdup, and he says, "Here, take the wallet. There's $500 in the wallet, and the wallet costs more than that." It's like, okay, I sit on that, But anyway, so again, along that same vein, one person pretends to be rich yet has nothing. Another person pretends to be poor yet has great wealth. And again, that's what we're talking about. What are we pretending to be? Why do we think we have to pretend to be rich? Because if we try to pretend to be rich, we're not going to have much. Because we're spending so much time trying to build up that outward appearance. And it's dangerous. Yes. Have it now, pay later. Credit cards. Yes. I remember when we lived in New Mexico, every Christmas you would get the Perky woman on the car commercial. Need money for Christmas gifts? Give us your car. Sign your car over to us and we will give you money. And then, we'll talk about payment later. But it was just such as happy as turn in the channel. Yeah. I mean, those weren't her exact words, but that's what it was. Give us your title and we'll give you money. And she was just so happy sounding and everything. The first couple of months, interest free. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. You know, again, it's like, don't fall into that trap. Don't do it. Yeah. She got paid. Proverbs 14:4 says, where there are no oxen, the manger is empty, but from the strength of an ox come abundant harvests. What does this mean? Another version of the Bible puts it as where there are no oxen, the stable is clean, but from the strength of an ox come abundant harvests. What could this be talking about?
Well, if you have an ox, you can work in the fields and get the harvest. Whereas if you don't, a lot harder.
Yeah.
This one kind of gave a little bit more explanation, I think. Where no oxen are, the manger is clean, but much increase comes by the strength of the oxen.
Uh-huh.
Much increase.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know, well, actually, I take that back. Some of us have probably had to clean stables or done similar top work. Were you happy to, actually, you know what's also a good example? Laundry. The never-ending, when I was a kid, the never-ending story was a movie they made in the 80s that had a flying furry dragon. Furry dragon. The never-ending story. Yeah, my parents actually had to take me out of that theater because I cried when the horse died. Screaming bloody murder. That horse came back to life at the end of it. I was so mad when I found out. But anyway, the never-ending story when I'm an adult, laundry. It's the never-ending story. There's always laundry to do, isn't there? There's always laundry. You ever been thankful for your dirty laundry, though? What's the opposite? Well, I mean, think about it. What's the opposite of not having dirty laundry? No clothes. I assure you don't want that. No clothes. That's what this is talking about. Yes, I could have a clean stable, but that means I have no ox. But if I have no ox, what am I getting done? That's right. The ox provides the harvest. It makes it possible to do the farming. So the question is am I willing to do the grunt work, the dirty work that comes along with owning an ox or having laundry in order to have the benefit of having the ox? We all want success in something. But are we willing to do the work to get the success? That's what this is really about. Okay, Proverbs 15:17 says, better, this is a great holiday one as we come upon, getting closer to Thanksgiving and everything. Better a small serving of vegetables with love than a fattened calf with hatred.
I know the calf would still taste better.
Couldn't taste the hatred.
That's right.
Randy would say, I'll take my plate and go outside. Thank you. Well, I know how much you love a vegetarian diet. Yeah.
That's me.
Better a small serving of vegetables with love than a fattened calf with hatred. Right on. What's it saying? And first of all, do you agree? We know what this is saying. Do you agree?
I think it's very true.
Yeah.
I've had some great foods already, but without the right company, it doesn't taste good at all. And
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that the companions can make the meal. And if we're in a situation where the meal is tense and people are just there because they have to, it could be the best food on the planet, but you can't wait to get out of there. But instead, I can go do what? Yeah, it's all a whole experience. And instead, I can have something that's more basic. And that's what the small serving of vegetables is. It's just basic. A basic meal. Like going to the fast food restaurant with some really close friends and just having a grand old time, or going to the steakhouse with a bunch of people that really don't get along real well. And that could be a total drudgery. So yeah, I better have a simple meal with good friends. Absolutely. Proverbs 16:26. The appetite of laborers work for them, their hunger drives them on. Who's hungry? But what does our hunger lead to? Ethan says food. Why do we go to work? For what? For who? For what? Oh, family. I want to kick them out the door and make them go on their own. No, I mean, honestly, what is? Do we just go to work because we're bored? For food. We got to bring that bacon.
Yeah, it was right.
Ethan was right. See, look, they agree with you. What drives us on? With work, we worked in order to get money, in order to pay bills, in order to buy food, in order to get the things we need, in order that we can have. And our hunger, the motivation for a good worker should be the providing that I'm doing for my family and all this. I mean, that's what it's for. But, take this out of work. What is it that we are hungry for in life? If it's spiritual maturity, what does our hunger lead us to? Blessed are those who hunger and thirst for righteousness, for they will be filled. That's the spiritual example of this. A hungry person will work to try to figure out something, even if it's panhandling, they're going to try to figure out something in order to bring in money. But imagine if we become hungry and thirsty for righteousness. What are we willing to do? What are we willing to study? How close to God are we willing to become in order that we might be filled? In a secular sense, when we're working, if we're wanting that promotion, how hard are we going to work? If we want that better job, how hard are we going to work? If we want that better education, how hard are we going to work? We work for what we want, and that hunger, that drive that's in us is what keeps us going, makes us want to become better and better and better and better and better. They're not satisfied, those who are really hungry. Now, sometimes people do get satisfied, and they languish. But if we want to be hungry, we can go on. So the appetite of the laborer works for them. Now, their hunger drives them on. Napoleon would say that an army marches on its stomach. So again, you got to be fed. You got to have that hunger desire. Proverbs 17:3 says, "The crucible for silver and the furnace for gold, but the Lord tests the heart." How does it feel? I mean, what does it do to you? How does it affect your view of God and the fact that He tests us? It tells us in the Bible several times that He tests us and that He disciplines us. But what about tests? You ever think about God's testing of us? Why should God test us? I know, but doesn't He already know what we're going to do? For example, free will. For example, when God tells Abraham, "Go sacrifice Isaac to me," doesn't God already know what Abraham's going to do? And if the answer is yes, then why do it?
But do we know what we're gaining?
Well, what do we have to do with it?
Because we have.
God may know what we're gonna do, but in order to learn, we have to go through the experiences or the test or the classroom or whatever.
See, and you say you're not smart. Come on, Randy. That's exactly right. Yes, Will.
Also, touching your Lord.
Yes, I mean, God does know, but I don't. Do you think Abraham came out better or worse after that instance with Isaac? Or with a deeper understanding of who God is? And would he have had that if he didn't go through that experience? Because that's what the testing is. God does know, but it's not for God to know, if I can say that.
He knew there was an outcome.
Yeah.
Even if he killed his son, he knew there was an outcome. But his heart, or whatever we call that, wanted, just as Christ said, is there any way I can turn from this?
Yeah.
Is there any way? And when God didn't answer, what did he do? He went right on preparing the cross.
All right. What does, go ahead.
The furnace for gold is the way to purify the gold.
I'll say, what is a crucible in the furnace?
The heart is to purify the heart.
Yes, that's what it is. The crucible is just what you cook the silver in, like you do the furnace for gold. It's the whole thing of, and what's the point of it? Getting out the impurities. If you have a gold jewelry on, is that gold right out of the ground? No, it's not. It's gone. It's been purified. It's been burned down. It's been melted. It's been formed, and all that stuff. That's what goes on with the heart when God tests us. It's not for God. It's for us. And when we go through the testing, that's the process of our imperfections being burned out if we pass the test. That's how we get better. And we need those experiences. God doesn't need those experiences from us. We need those experiences so that we can get better and improve and continue on in his righteousness.
It's like a chunk of coal. If it never goes up and undergoes pressure, it just stays a chunk of coal.
Mm-hmm.
But with severe pressure over time, it can turn into a diamond. But we have to go through transformation.
That's right. So that's what's going on in that. It's the test, but the tests are good. Benefit. Yeah, and I'm sure they believed you at the time. Yeah. Proverbs 17:8. A bribe is seen as harm by the one who gives